the class of Social Science for class 9, Civics, Chapter 3, Part 3. The name of the chapter is Constitutional Design. I repeat, the name of the chapter is Constitutional Design. In the contents of Part 3, we will discuss about the Constitution Assembly, institutional design, Constitution of India, and few terms in form of glossary. Now, as we discussed earlier in Part 2, that the Indian Constitution was on the way or the path of its construction. Now, who then and who were the makers of the Constitution? This is a very important question. You will find Indian here a very brief sketch and giving you all of some leaders who played an important role in making the Constitution. The drafting of the document called the Constitution was done by an assembly of elected representatives called the Constituent Assembly. Elections to the Constituent Assembly was held in July 1946. Its first meeting was held in December 1946. Soon after, the country was divided into India and Pakistan. The Constituent Assembly was also divided into the Constituent Assembly of India and that of Pakistan. Okay. Previously, in July 1946, the Constituent Assembly was being formed. Okay. But in December 1946, when they had the first meeting, before that, India and Pakistan got divided to each other, and as they got divided to each other, the Constituent Assembly also got divided into two parts. One went to in Pakistan and another was remained in India. The Constituent Assembly that wrote the Indian Constitution had 299 members. I repeat this line, sentence, please listen it carefully. The Constitution of India had 199 members. Okay, how many members they had? 299. The Assembly adopted Constitution on 26 November 1949. The Assembly, they adopted the Constitution on 26 November 1949. But it came into effect on 26 January 1950. But it came into effect on 26 January 1950. To mark this day, we celebrate this 26 January as a Republic Day every year. You all know that we celebrate the Republic Day on the basis of or on the making of our Indian Constitution. Okay, so the leaders who have actually been participating in this, they were very prominent leaders. Now, the Constituent Assembly, while writing all these things, there were 299 members who really worked on this work, on this project. Okay, they had gained or they had just evaluated and analyzed such a long constitution. Okay, just continuing and reading about the constitution, about so many things. Okay, constitution about so many countries, whatever they did, and including that, students, that constitution, when it was being adopted and the assembly was being done, Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar took a very long time to present the constitution in the front of the Constituent Assembly, because every word, whatever he wrote and whatever he drafted, was being discussed in the Constituent Assembly. Okay, this was actually a very hectic task for them, but still they tried to do, because they really wanted that the Indians, for the future long duration, they should be living peacefully and happily inside their country, and there should be no overwhelming, or there should no any other form of government can exist in this country. Only a democratic form of government should exist in this country. Now, let us discuss that who are the makers of the Indian Constitution. T.T. Krishnamaramacharya. Okay, from 1899 to 1974. Born in Tamil Nadu, member at the drafting committee, entrepreneur and a Congress leader. Later, he became the finance minister in the Union cabinet. G. Durgabai Deshmukh, 1909 to 1981. Born in Andhra Pradesh, advocate and a public activist for women's emancipation. Okay, founder of Andhra Mahila Sabha, Congress leader, later founder chairperson of Central Social Welfare Board. Somanath Lahiri, 1901 to 1984. Born in the West Bengal, writer and editor. Leader of the Communist Party of India, later he became the member of the West Bengal Legislative Assembly. Sarojini Naidu, 1879 to 1949. Born in Andhra Pradesh, poet, writer and political activist. Among the foremost women leaders in the Congress. Later, she became the governor of Uttar Pradesh. I am defining you and I am making you clear with all the leaders who really participated in the formation of the Indian Constitution or really played a very important role. Not only Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, but apart from the Bhimrao Ambedkar, these are those members who really took part in the formation of the Indian Constitution. Now, H.C. Mukherjee, 1887 to 1956. He was born in Bengal, the vice chairman of the Constituent Assembly, reputed author and educationist, Congress leader, member of All India Christian Council and Bengal Legislative Assembly. Later, he became the governor of West Bengal. Jaipal Singh, 1903 to 1970. Born in Jharkhand, a sportsman and educationist, captain of the first national hockey team, founder, president of Adivasi Mahasabha. Later, he became the founder of the Jharkhand Party. Abdul Kalam Azad, 1888 to 1958. Born in Uttar Pradesh, great educationist, author and theologian, scholar of Arabic, Congress leader, active in the national movement, opposed Muslim separatist politics, and later he became the education minister in the first Union cabinet. Abdul Kalam Azad, who was also known as the founder of the Aligarh Muslim University, which is situated in India, and it is said to be the first university established, where several numerous leaders of India and including that from other countries too, they all study. Jawaharlal Vallabhbhai Patel, 1875 to 1950, born in Gujarat, Minister of Home and Information and Broadcasting in the interim government, lawyer and the leader of Batroli Peasant Satyagraha, played a decisive role in the integration of the Indian princely states. Later, he became the Deputy Prime Minister of India. Kanhaiyalal Maniklal Munshi, 1887 to 1871, born in Gujarat, advocate, historical and linguistic. Linguistic is a person who usually used to speak several languages, more than 2 or 1 languages. Congress leader and Gandhian. Later, he became the minister in the Union cabinet, founder of the Swatantra Party. Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar, 1891-1956, born in Maharashtra, chairman of the drafting committee, social revolutionary, thinker and agitator against caste divisions and caste-based inequalities. Later, he became the law minister in the first cabinet of the post-independence India, founder of the Republican Party of India. Shyam Prasad Mukherjee, 1901 to 1953. Born in West Bengal, Ministers of Industry and Supply in interim government, educationist and lawyer. Active in Hindu Mahasabha, later he became the founder, president of Bharatiya Janasangh. Rajendra Prasad, the first president of India, 1884 to 1963. Born Bihar chairman. Born in Bihar, he became the chairman of the Constituent Assembly, lawyer, known for his role in the Champaran Satyagraha. 3 times the president of India, 3 times the president of Congress. Later, he became the first president of India. While making the Constitution of India, Satyanarayana Sinha, Satyanarayana Sinha, he was been appointed as a president of the drafting committee. But due to some tasks, he was unable to continue for a longer duration, and after that, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was made the permanent president, and that's how he became the president of the Constituent Assembly also, and he became the president, the first president of India also. Baldev Singh, 1901 to 1961, born in Haryana, a successful entrepreneur and a leader of the Pathet Akali Party in Punjab Assembly, a nominee of the Congress in the Constituent Assembly. Later, he became the defense minister in the Union Cabinet. Jawaharlal Nehru, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, a very famous familiar name. 1889 to 1964, born in Uttar Pradesh, Prime Minister of the interim government, lawyer and a Congress leader, advocate of socialism, democracy and anti-imperialism. Later, first Prime Minister of India. Now, there are so many names and so many people we have came and noticed about. But there is one person missing from all these lists and who is said to be the very important person of making this Constituent Assembly. Okay, and that person was none other than Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi, who was actually not a member of a Constituent Assembly. He was not interested in politics at all. Okay, whatever he had advices he used to give openly to every person. Oh, anyone can come and take his advice, anyone can come and ask for any of the suggestion. Okay, you know students, the Constituent Assembly, this legislative assembly, whatever the constitution we have been facing and we are being made for right now, it has been done just on the basis of Mahatma Gandhi. It was a story that Mahatma Gandhi, when after the 1857 revolt, you all know that the Queen Elizabeth took the powers from the Britishers in her hand. Okay. After that, the Viceroy was being appointed to India, who was said to be the right hand of the Queen Elizabeth, and who used to direct report about the work done by the Britishers inside the country. Now, in this case, one day Mahatma Gandhi wrote a letter, and the people were also being sent that they can directly contact with the Queen Elizabeth by writing any letter, and the Viceroy used to forward it to the Queen, and she used to give reply back or give the feedback of the same. Okay. Now, Mahatma Gandhi once wrote a letter to Queen Elizabeth requesting her to give the permission for their own constitution, for their own constituent assembly. They need a platform, a political platform now to raise their voice, okay, to speak. Now, this was seriously a very miserable and a very hectic task over there in front of Queen Elizabeth. But still, while understanding the situations over there, she got a lesson that it should be done. So she gave the permission for forming the Constituent Assembly. And from the beginning, she sent it A.O. Hume. Okay, A.O. Hume, who is said to be the founder of the Indian National Congress. Okay, he came to India. The elections were held. The representatives. That's why very small categories of the legislative assembly constituencies were there. Okay, and legislative members were being elected. Now, after the election, a Constituent Assembly was being formed. Now they have to give any name. While giving that name, it should be a political party. So A.O. Hume decided to give the name of the political party, but while giving the name, he was sort of with a one plan, one thing, that if I am going to name this party with the name of any of the outsiders, okay, any of the name from the British, then again it will be an injustice and the people can revolt. Okay, so what he did, he finally got the name and he got the name the Indian National Congress. Okay, remember African National Congress, ANC was there, same like here, he put it the name over here, Indian National Congress, and that's how the Indian National Congress Party was formed, and that's how this Constituent Assembly, the Constitution was being made and was started in making of the creation of a new democratic country inside India. Now, let's discuss on the philosophy of the Constitution, values that inspired and guided The freedom struggle were in turn nurtured by it, formed and the foundation for Indian democracy. These values are embedded in the preamble of the Indian Constitution. They guide all the articles of the Indian Constitution. The Constitution begins with a short statement of its basic values. This is called the preamble of the Constitution. Taking inspiration from the American model, most countries in the contemporary world have chosen to begin their constitution with the preamble. So the first preamble in the Constitution was made by America, okay? And after taking the content, after taking an idea from the American model, the Indian Constitution preamble was made, okay? Now, what actually the preamble consists of? Preamble consists of what can be said to be a summarized manner, a small detail about the whole Constitution, the norms, the rules and regulations, which has to be formulated, which has to be implemented and step forward for the future generations, okay? And it is said everyone has to pay regard and follow the preamble of the Indian Constitution. Okay, these are based on the values that really inspires and make the human being as a sort of a human being only, not in a sort of dominating others, okay, not in a sort of following the inequality or discrimination inside the country, not following any social disturbance or any of the war, conflicts or anything. It should be on the topic on the basis of the maintaining peace and harmony inside the country. Now, this inspiration was being taken from the American model, but also from the American model, many other democratic countries also took the scope of this, and they also started making preamble for their own constitution, okay, and for their own country. Now here, whatever the values which has been embedded, which has been written in the Indian Constitution, it was all sort of the articles, okay, the basic norms, the important norms of the Indian Constitution for the citizens of the welfare of the citizens of the country. Now here I am showing you the two preambles. One is of the United States of America, the American model, and the second one is a preamble of the South Africa. Now, we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, insecure domestic inequality, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our prosperity, to ordain and establish the Constitution of United States of America. This was the preamble of the United States of America at that time. Now it is a little bit changed in this. Okay. Now when it comes to the South Africa, what actually was been written in the South Africa preamble? We, the people of South Africa, recognize the injustice of our past, honor those who suffered for justice and freedom in our land, respect those who have worked to build and develop our country, and believe that South Africa belongs to all who live in it, united in our diversity. We together, through our freely elected representatives, adopt this Constitution as the supreme law of the Republic, so as to read the omissions of the past, divisions of the past, and establish a society based on democratic values, social justice and fundamental human rights. Lay the foundation for a democratic and open society in which government is based on the will of the people and even every citizen is equally protected by law. Improve the quality of life of all citizens and free the potential of each person and build a united and a democratic South Africa, able to take its rightful place as a sovereign state in the family of nations. May God protect our people. Kwasi Sikla Africa, Marana Bolka Sijaba Sa Hasa. God seen South Africa, God bless South Africa. Massimo Fatlamasku, Africa, Khazi Katakisa, Africa. This was actually the constitution of the preamble of the constitution of Africa. So here, did you found some difference in over there in the South African preamble? It was as what Nelson Mandela said, that we should forgive everyone whatever they have done, whatever the injustice we have suffered, should not be continued in future time. Okay, we should be all united, we should live peacefully, and we should be blessed and removing all the social discrimination. So whatever they had faced, they had written over there in this, because in South Africa there was no problem apart and only about the racial discrimination and the apartheid which was going on. Otherwise everything was okay. Okay, so related to that they mentioned over here. Now we will discuss about the preamble or the some of the important aspects of the Indian Constitution very carefully and understand the meaning of each of its keywords. The preamble of the Constitution reads like the poem on democracy. It contains a philosophy on which the entire Constitution has been built. It provides a standard to examine and evaluate any law and action of government to find out whether it is good or bad. It is the soul of the Indian Constitution. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and a secure to all citizens. Justice, social, economic and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this Constitution. Now here, the preamble that we read just right now of the Indian Constitution was seriously a remarkable moment, a remarkable thing, because when you are just have the words with whatever they have written over here, it was not so easy to build at that time. It was really a great task done by the great leaders for India, for the citizens of India, for a very longer generations. Still yet we are following all those things, and in spite of 100 years of independence. And later on also we will be following the same norms and the same constitution. And in the next slide I am going to tell you what exactly the meanings of these words are in detail. The yellow words which has been highlighted in the last slide for the in the preamble of the Constitution, we are going to discuss these words in this slide. We the people of India, what does it mean? The Constitution has been drawn up and enacted by the people through their representatives and not handed down them by king or any. So it has been said that we the people of India are following this, okay? Sovereign. People have the supreme right to make decisions on internal as well as external matters. No external power can indicate the government of India. Socialist. Wealth is generated socially and should be shared equally by society. Government should regulate the ownership of land and industry to reduce socio-economic inequalities. Okay, now sovereign over here they meant that the people have the right to take their decisions internally or external matters. Okay, no other country can dominate the government of India. Socialist, it will say that wealth is generated socially and should be shared equally with the society, okay, by the society. Government has the responsibility only to regulate the ownership of the land and industry to reduce the socio-economic inequalities, okay. If there is a person A is having, B is not having, so for the B, the government is being authorized to issue them the land for their work. Now, secular. Citizens have to complete freedom to follow any religion, but there is no official religion. Government treats all religion, beliefs and practices with equal respect. Now here it is being said that it is no religion of any particular India country. Okay, there is no single religion of India. Being an Indian is a religion, but no other religion will be accepted. Hindu, Muslim, Christian, other Sikhs, all other religions, whoever exists in India, they are their own, the basis of their personal, issues, not related to the country. So no political government or no any other government person can discriminate the people on the basis of their religion. Democratic country, a form of government where people enjoy equal political rights, elect their rulers and hold them accountable. The leaders are being always answerable to the public. We can ask them whatever we want regarding their work. We can check their work. The government is running according to some basic rules. Republic is said to be the head of the state is an elected person, not an hereditary position. This you all know. In the republic, usually where we used to elect the person and he used to govern the nation. He is not a king or in a hereditary form. Justice. Citizens cannot be discriminated on the grounds of caste, religion and gender. Social inequalities have to be reduced. Government should work on the welfare of all, especially the disadvantaged groups. It means the minorities. Especially they were working on the minorities because the people have really faced a lot of trouble and sacrifices regarding on the basis just done or inequality on the basis of discrimination done by the higher class. So here they said that the justice should be clean and clear. It should not be based on anything. It should be partial also. It should be impartial and removing all the bad effects of the society or the bad traits of the society. Liberty. There are no reasonable restrictions on the citizens in what they think, how they wish, and to express their thoughts, and the way they wish to follow their thoughts in action. Now, the right this was been given to the Indian citizen that there is no reasonable restriction. Whatever any person wants to do, he or she can do, but only within the limitation of the Constitution. We cannot cross the Constitution like this. We have to be aware of, we have to take care of our Constitution very much, that it should not be lost at all. So giving the right to freedom, giving your right of liberty doesn't mean that we are going to utilize it in a bad manner. Utilize it in a good manner. Utilize it for your development of your own self. Utilize it for your development of the country, for the development of your society. Now comes to the equality. All the equal before the law. The traditional social inequality have to be ended. The government should be ensured equal opportunities for all. For all, every person is equal before the law. There is no higher, there is no inferior, there is no superior in the society. Now I'm just giving an example. Look at it. Just listen it properly. President of India, he killed any person. He murdered any person. So do you think that he is going to be released like this only, or forgiveness will be granted, or he will be only terminated from his position? No, not at all. Whatever the procedure is going on, as for a normal citizen, it will be done like that. Imagine I have murdered anyone, any person. Whatever the schedule, whatever the procedure is there for checking for my case, the FRIs and any other procedure of the lawful. The case discussion inside the court in front of the judge, everything will be held equal as to the president. So in front of the law, no one is different, no one is separate. Everyone is equal in front of the law. And this is in a very important strength or the pillar of the Indian Constitution. Fraternity. All of us should behave as we are the members of the same family. No one should treat the fellow citizens as inferior. As whatever the love and the respect we have for our one family, for the own family members, same like here, it should be had over there with the citizens also. And that is why students, when we are coming on the any aspect where the India or where the any on the image or the respect of India, whole of the country comes and unites. Okay, now at that time there is no opposition party, at that time there is no governing party, at that time there is no particular citizen who is thinking about himself. He or she just wanted became as one. They help each other just like as we help our own family members. These were the words which was being mentioned in our preamble of our constitution, and which really means in detail. It's a very long discussion, but in a short, if we just quote for these words, you can understand that what exactly the leaders did for us and what exactly do we think that we are really following all these things, and whatever the things we follow, it's really goodful, it's really worthful for us. Otherwise, it is going to be all worthless. Their efforts is going to be in a hell if we really not going to follow these norms, the preamble of the Constitution. Now, let's discuss about the institutional design. A constitution is not merely a statement of values and philosophy. As we noted, our constitution is mainly about embodying these values into institutional arrangements. Most of the document called the Constitution of India is about these arrangements only. It is a very long and detailed document. Therefore, it needs to be amended quite regularly to keep it updated, because as the society changes, the norms also changes, the conditions changes. Okay, those who crafted the Indian Constitution felt that it has to be in accordance with the people's aspiration and changes in the society. They did not see it as a static and unalterable law. So they made the provisions to incorporate changes from time to time. These changes are called the constitutional amendments. Okay. Now the creators of the Indian Constitution didn't feel that these things are sacred. These are sacred, but these are not the things that we cannot be changed. Okay. As we cannot change the tradition and the policies of our custom and the religion, they didn't feel like that. They said, they already realized this thing, that as the time will change, the conditions of the people will change. And as the condition of the people will change, their demand will change and the need will change. And for all that thing, the rules have to be also changed. So they made the special sort of provision that where the constitutional norms can be amended or changed as per the requirement of the society, as per the requirement of the nation. There will be not, you can say, the laws also cannot be forcefully implemented on the people. Over there, they already decided to amend it, okay? And this was actually called the Constitutional Amendment. This was called Constitutional Amendment. Amendment, the word over here, where we have the basic rule. The basic rule is been changing, okay? It is not been removed, but it is been changing. As just giving a small example, the right to property of inheritance. Property of inheritance, okay? After the death of father, at that time the son was only making liable or was liable to inherit the property of the father. But after a few years, it was being found that the wife is also the part of the family and she is totally dependent on the husband. So, in that case, the law was amended. The property of law inheritance. The law later, the property inheritance was amended. It was amended that the wife and the son, they both are equal partners in the property of the husband. Now, after some time, as the daughter's importance came, the importance of the women came into existence in the society, the law was also changed. Over there, the daughter, the wife, and the son, all three are equal over there to inherit the property. So this was what? The property, the law related to the property inheritance is the same. The son is there. It is not changed at all. But it is being added with two more steps. First the wife and now the daughter. So these are being said that the constitutional amendments are also being able to done properly. Okay. And this is only on the basis of the requirement of the society, on the requirement of the country, on the requirement of the citizens of the nation. Continuing with the Indian Constitution describes the institutional arrangements in a very legal language. If you read the Constitution for the first time, it can be quite difficult to understand. I can understand with the same. Yet the basic institutional design is not difficult to understand. Like any constitution, the Indian Constitution lays down for choosing persons to govern the country. It defines who will be have how much power to take the decision and all its limits to what the government can do, and by providing some rights to the citizens that cannot be violated. So over here, the Indian Constitution not only gave the rights and the duties towards for the citizens, but also towards the government too. Okay, it's not like that the governing party or the ruling party is going to dominate others. No, not at all. Equal rights is being divided. Whatever the government work has to do, they have decided for the government to do. The work done by the citizens, they have decided that these works should be done by the citizens itself. Okay, so there is no any sort of complications or confusion regarding the work power or the power sharing. Okay, so this was done in the Indian Constitution for the betterment of the Indian people. Now let's discuss a very small details of the Indian Constitution. It's a very long and detailed document, amended quite regularly to keep updated. It lays down a procedure for choosing person to govern the country, defines who will have how much power to take decisions, put the limits to what the government can do by providing some rights to the citizen that cannot be violated. Okay. So what actually they did, the Indian Constitution of India is a very detailed and a long one. It used to get amended time to time regularly on the demand of the society. It lays down a procedure, a scenario of work, okay, for choosing person to govern the country. Defines who will have how much power and how much can utilize the power. Put the limits of the government to work, okay, they have to be answerable towards the citizens, and they also provided some rights to the citizens which cannot be violated by any of the person. Now let's come and study about some words and the terms that came in this presentation. In form of glossary, apartheid, an official policy of racial separation and ill treatment of the blacks, followed by the government of South Africa between 1948 to 1989. Clause, a distinct section of a document. Constitution, supreme law of a country containing fundamental rules governing the politics and society in the country. Constituent Assembly, an assembly of people's representatives that writes a constitution for our country. Draft. Draft means a preliminary version of a document. It means a very rough form of a document, whatever we want to be done in the written form. Okay, the whole of the constitution was drafted. Okay, it was simply done, written in a rough papers. After that they were being discussed, and after that discussion it was being written in a proper manner. This is called a draft. Continuing with the glossary, constitutional amendment, a change in the constitution made by the supreme legislative body in the country. Now next word is philosophy, the most fundamental principles underlying one's thought and action. Preamble. Preamble means introductory statement in a constitution which states the reason and the guiding values of the constitution. Treason. Treason means the offense of attempting to overthrow the government of a state to which the offender owes any choice. Now over here means we are not, as you have said, just went in the South Africa. What actually did the black government, the black people, the ANC and African National Congress, they were disobeying the rules and regulations. Okay, this had made the white government angry, and that's why Nelson Mandela and 7 other leaders were being sentenced to the life imprisonment. So the treason, it means for just disobeying or not following the rules and regulations within the constitution or any other agreement whichever they have done. Now, terrorist over here means a meeting or a meeting place that has been agreed upon. You remember the statement of Jawaharlal Nehru, what he said? Now once we had a meeting, a terrorist with destiny. Terrorist with destiny means a meeting with destiny. And now the destiny is about to change. Now that we are changing this destiny, we are changing all the bad aspects of the previous time, during the East Indian time. Okay, so this was actually the constitutional design, and this is how the Indian Constitution was formed. And thus how the South Africa, who was very discriminated, who was being separated from all the nations, became an ideal country in front of the whole nation, whole of the whole world. Okay, and they gave many inspirations to other countries too, for removing the discrimination, racial discrimination, especially from their own country. So students, please to humbly, I request you all to read this chapter. It's a very important chapter for you all. Okay, discuss thoroughly, read thoroughly this PPT, whatever the slides I have shown you all. Okay, check out the works and write these glossaries in your notebook also. Okay, and try to find out whatever the other norms or whatever the other things that you really feel in your, according to you, it should be amended. Okay, any of the constitutional law you think that it can be amended, just find it out by your own and try to write down in your notebook. This is a task I am giving you, that as per today's scenario, as per today's generation time, whatever is going on in the political parties or inside the whole country, what are the basic things that you really want to be changed? Okay, what are the really things that you want that these policies or these rules should be changed for the betterment of the country? Okay, present in an article report and write in your notebook. Thank you for watching this video. Have a great day ahead.